Yo, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today I'm bringing a new series that I'm going to be uploading every Monday at 9 a.m. Pacific, I believe. I got to double check that, my notes. But basically, we'll be watching one or two replays that have been submitted to us through a form on my Discord or in my Discord. So if you want to be able to get some free coaching, basically, and get a chance to be on this video series, join my Discord link below in the description. I'll have a form there you can fill out and you can sign up to have the opportunity to get your replay reviewed. Here we have a replay submitted by Medic Jr., a Diamond Terran. I'm actually not sure exactly what his Omar is. I want to say he's 4K, though. I think he's 4K. So he's nearing M3. And he submitted this replay with a small description, which I'll read now. It says, in this game, I felt I did not hit my timing well. This was because my engineering bays were quite late, which did not allow me to get my 1-1 upgrades completed with my first push. I tried to come back, but I do not do well because the Zerg has good army splitting, and I end up losing. Okay. So let's get started. We'll boost it up a little bit at the beginning. Let's take a look at the build order here. This is a TVZ on, I think it's pronounced Al-Sayani, but I could be wrong about that, even though it's already like how many months into the new patch, which is like basically not even new anymore. So I'm very curious about the opener. I don't know anything about this replay. I haven't watched it. The gas is a little bit late already by a few seconds, maybe like 2 seconds. But yeah, I haven't seen this replay. I only know how long it is, but I have it hidden here so you guys can't see. and the result, obviously. So gas a bit late. There's an SCV in there with a mineral. If I'm being nitpicky, honestly, try to practice not doing that. You want to be grabbing workers that are not mining. So I like to grab the workers on the farther mineral patches to not ruin your nice mining. So I'll grab like this one and this one. Make sure they don't have any minerals in them before you send them into the gas. The timing that you sent them into the gas was good though. So it's just changing up the workers that you grab. Good SCV scout. This is a good timing. Barrack scouting. Very, very good. Zerg is playing standard. Yep, standard is literally as standard as you can get. And then we're just going to check the natural timing. Perfect. We see the creep, we see the base is done, and we leave. All right. Marine, factory. I'm guessing this is going to be like a 3cc build or a 2cc build. Doesn't seem like it's going to be anything crazy. We're being annoying with the Reaper. Here's another small tip as well, in case some of you guys don't know. With the Reaper, I guess it also depends on your level because some people will not feel very comfortable attempting to snipe the first creep tumor. But if you want to try it out, basically, when your Reaper comes in, you do not want to use the grenade right away. Because if you do that, and the queen pops and puts the tumor down, you can't kill it. Well, at least you shouldn't be able to kill it. If you want to kill the creep tumor, that first creep tumor, and you want to have the opportunity to kill it, you need to use the grenade. Helps a lot. So if you use a grenade this early, as you can see, it's not going to be finished in time. On the cooldown there, just barely. And they'd be able to get that down if they would have planted it right away. And here, doesn't matter in the end. Good placement, Ling's being annoying. I like this Marine as well. Really nice patrolling that there. I feel like I actually don't really see that at this level, so that's nice. That's cool to see. We see a third base. That's a really standard third base as well. So again, nothing out of the ordinary just yet. But like you mentioned in the description, we have some issues with the engineering bay timing, so let's check that out. Second gas in the main. Now we're gonna swap these. And then we'll go Banshees. Okay. And we're going to pressure with the Hellions. Try not to be too aggressive with the Hellions in these kinds of scenarios. So this is actually a really, really good tip. And I think most of my students that I have already know about this. Oops, I just realized I doxed the timing of the game. Nice. I don't think... Damn it. Okay, it's the first one. It's okay. So I feel like a lot of my students know this, but if you haven't had coaching with me, or maybe you don't know, basically, with the Hellions, your goal is not really to fight the queens or even kill the creep tumors like that. Obviously, if you can, that's great. But you want to keep in mind that, if you do that and you get hit by the queens, obviously you're going to lose HP on your Hellions, and that makes it harder to pressure the creep spread later on. So a good alternative is to just basically bounce between the bases and delay these tumors from continuing. So for example, here there's queens here, right? We see the queens here. The queens are going to put down more tumors, as you can see. They're getting ready to do that, and they have done that here. And the tumors here, or at least this tumor here, is already ready. So what you want to do is, as soon as you see the queens here, you want to shift the Hellions to this side, and you don't even need to kill the creep tumors or anything like that. You just have to delay. You're just delaying this basically, right? Because they're gonna have to rotate the queens to this side to push your Hellions away, and then this side will be ready. So then you can go from here to back down here, and you can kind of keep bouncing back and forth. Now, as you get better, or depending on what your level is or who you're playing against, people will split their queens. They will go like 3 and 3, or 4 and 4, or whatever. When that happens, then those are opportunities for you to jump on one side of the queens or one half of the queens, where you have the 6 Hellions or even the 8 Hellions and the 2 Banshees, depending on what you're doing. And then that would be an opportunity where you can maybe kill like 1 or 2 queens, right? So that's what you want to do. And obviously, like I mentioned earlier, the more damage you take to your Hellions, the less likely you are to be able to do that. And then you're kind of you're stuck with Hellions that are basically dead. And if you're not paying attention, a Zergling run by or a surround can happen. And, Hellions are already fragile in up close engagements. Well, it's no HP, you're just going to lose them. So just a tip there. Like, hitting that is nice, but it may not be worth losing 2 Hellions, right? Now you're going to lose your presence, and then the Zerg player is going to feel a lot more emboldened to start spreading the more creep. All right, so depot is a little bit late. There it is. Okay, so we're going to avoid a supply block there. I think. Actually, no, we're not. We're going to be a little bit supply block. That's okay. Second Banshee is coming out. I can start stim. Be really careful also building your buildings this close, because if there's no like, I think here there's an opening, but if there's no opening here, units will get stuck here. So be really careful about that. Like, even if you put the factory right here, and then you put this barracks right here, then at least there's space so that nothing gets stuck. So be really careful about we think this is really good because then it's just really fast, but then it messes up our shit, and then I gotta stop swearing. It messes up our stuff, and then the Marines get stuck. So okay, so here I can see what you mean about the E-bays. So we go 5 racks. E-bays are late. Let's see how late the E-bays are though. And so basically we're just gonna see if the late engineering bays and what the students said in the description was really the reason why they lost, or how they could have still won despite whatever happened early on. So okay, no overseer at the queens. There is overseer on the way now though, and here we scan for creep. I think that's fine. It kills a lot of creep in there, so that's good. Okay, and keep in mind here again, the more you pressure with the Hellions later on, or let me rephrase that. So when you land your 3rd base and you start kind of expanding and opening up your base, if your Hellions are still roaming, that's okay. But just keep in mind that if, for example, the Overlord is still there at this little pillar, or even if it's not there, people will still take the risk of like, oh, the Hellions are on the map. Like, let me just do a run by. So be really careful, guys. Like, if you do that, there's a really good chance, especially as you get better, that a Zergling run by will happen. So how do you avoid this? Well, really, you just have 2 options. You could, make sure you have enough Marines here, and kind of have them wall off this one depot that you have lowered. So this is good, but you just don't have any Marines. Or you just keep the Hellions at home and just pressure with the Banshees. If I'm being honest, especially at this diamond level, near M3 level, and honestly even like to M2 and stuff like that, or upper 4K, it's really, really hard to pressure with both Hellions and the Banshees to the point that you can be efficient. So sometimes it's just better to give up certain things in exchange for others, right? So for example, like if I'm even for me, like if I'm trying to use my Hellions and my Banshees at the same time and also hit my build perfectly, I am much more likely to make mistakes with my build. And I feel like you want your build to be perfect first, and then you can do all the extra stuff. And then if I'm only able to use the Banshees and do my build, I'm gonna do that because I'm gonna get. You have to think about the value or the ROI, right? Return on investment. Like if I'm using both my Hellions and my Banshees, am I even getting enough value to warrant messing up my build? So I usually just advise people to use the Banshees at this point. And then keep the Hellions at home. I mean, here you can see, right? Like, there's a lot of stuff going on in the game. The Hellions die anyway. The Banshees get F2'd. And yeah, and honestly, yeah, the upgrades are late. The upgrades are late, but the Zerg players' upgrades are also not actually even that fast either. So your upgrades are slightly behind, but this is not this is definitely not a reason why you lost. Unless you forgot 2-2, 20 minutes in the game, then maybe. But you have a good armory timing, so it just seems like that run by really messed you up, and then you lost to Hellions and Banshees. And so basically now, you've lost a lot of your presence on the map, but you've also lost your ability to defend your bases. Right? So if you do this push, now you have no Hellions at home, or this push is even lacking Hellions now. So what I would do here, and this is something that you really have to practice getting better at, because it can be really hard to know it in the game, is knowing your presence in the game. So we lost our Hellions, we lost our Banshees, right? We can't really pressure with our tanks like we can't, and we lost a lot of SCVs and mining time, and even Marines at home, right? Let's see. Oh, god damn it. It's okay, I already doxed it. I'll have to work on this for future videos. So here, we only lost 4 workers actually, but we did lose we lost a lot of our units, right? We lost the Hellions, lost the Banshees. So with this, and mining time, of course, right? So we might even be short Marines because we have to pull the workers to fight the Zerglings. So at this point, we can pretty much infer that we are behind, right? I don't think that's really too hard to guess. So here, I think it's just much better to pressure with Marines. So using the Marine medevac to pressure out on the map, and then keep the tanks at home to defend, or just not put yourself at risk of losing the tanks. This is one of those scenarios where getting into Widow Mines and getting into Widow Mines as quickly as possible, especially with drilling claws, can help you get back into the game. Because honestly, it's very, very hard to get maximum value with tanks. Tanks are already very expensive, and getting proper placement, all that stuff is very, very difficult. And you have to also be able to target fire them on the banelings and all that stuff. Whereas Widow Mines, I do think with Widow Mines is much, much easier, and oftentimes you can get very lucky, and or your opponent has much more difficulty microing against the Widow Mines. So in this scenario, if we're looking at it at a cost efficient way, going into mines faster is a better way of getting back into the game here. So I would keep the tanks at home. I would take the Marines. I would pressure with the Marines, but not necessarily commit to anything crazy. And I would start emphasizing Widow Mines. If you still want to build tanks, that's fine. I actually think that's good, especially for defensive purposes. But keep the tanks at home, because see here, now we've lost 2 tanks for basically nothing. Oh my god, this guy just detonated his own banelings. And you probably didn't even realize that. Oh my Jesus. Wait, I want to see does the unit's loss pick that up? Oh my god, it does, dude. That's crazy. This guy. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, because you're probably gonna feel worse seeing that. You're gonna be like, oh, you just detonated all these bands. How did that even happen? Oh, all right. So that's rough. That's very rough. Okay, so in a way, you're kind of back in the game, because this guy doesn't have a lot of gas. He's missing a drone in the natural, missing a drone in this one, no gas here. And you have no idea. Now, this sucks, because if you were just a mindless Terran and you just kept aping across the map, you'd actually just win right now, right? But you have no idea your opponent detonated all their Banes. So you would think that after taking a fight like that, you're behind on supply, but now you're ahead. So that is extremely unfortunate, extremely unfortunate. Really, there isn't a way of knowing that even happened unless, you find it weird that you don't see the banelings. But even then, you would just assume that they are hidden. So, honestly, this sucks. But a lot of times in this game, and in any game, really, there is some random RNG that'll happen. And sometimes it is what it is. You just have to accept it and face it. And that is rough. So, I like that you're pressuring with these drops. We got a 4th, extra barracks on the way. Okay, now our 2-2 is very late, but so is theirs, actually. So is theirs. If you actually had 2-2 on the way on time, also some more comeback potential here. I like the Tech Lab Marauders, really good. Again, just it's just really hard to get. It's really hard to get value just from Marines once the banelings are out, because you need those Widow Mines. You really need those Widow Mines, and that's honestly what I would advise here. If maybe he was playing Roaches or something like that, then no, you don't need Widow Mines, obviously, right? But in this kind of scenario, I think it's definitely just much, much better to have one factory producing tanks and one factory producing Widow Mines, and then because sometimes what will happen if you lose all the Widow Mines, you get overrun, and then you don't have anything at home to defend. But with the tanks, it adds a little bit of support. It solidifies a lot of things here. So unfortunately, we're just losing a lot of units and really just not getting any value. And realistically, this shouldn't even be this close. but our opponent just detonated all their banelings. Anyway, now we do a big tank push again. Okay, so this is fine, but we have to be really careful about running down mid. Honestly, I'm not a fan of this position. I'm not a fan of diving down the middle of the map, especially with siege tanks, unless you are in an all-in position, which I actually don't think you are in a very all-in spot. Like, you're behind, but I don't think you need to all-in like this. I think, especially because you have a fourth, you're actually okay. So what I would have done differently is I would have tried to stick to the sides here and then just keep an eye on the middle. But yeah, this is rough. This is why this style, you don't really see people play this way anymore. Is like Widow Mines are just way better. So this is definitely a way people used to play a lot beforehand. But there's just no reason to. And it's much harder, right? Look at this. You attack through the middle, right? You have to clear all this creep first. And sure, maybe if you clear it on earlier, then maybe you have a better chance. But then you still have the opportunity of getting surrounded, right? From multiple angles, which is kind of what happens here. Right? And maybe he could have even gone back here, really. And that would have just destroyed you. Now, I will say that if your Marines were actually behind your tanks when you took this fight, I think you would have won still. Only because our opponent is very low on supply. And the reason why they're low on supply is honestly, like, they're missing 10 drones, but they also have no gas. No gas whatsoever. So you're actually up in supply. But with the way you positioned all your tanks, you kind of blocked yourself from being able to run back efficiently. And honestly, if you would have pre-split just a little bit faster, maybe down here, it might have still worked even. I would have taken this a little bit slower, and I would have had, like, you know, one tank here, and then like another tank here, and then I would have tried to siege him here instead, and then only keep a small batch of Marines in the front as to not literally die like this. As you can see, that is very rough. So despite basically not even having a good early game and even tougher mid game, you actually still had an opportunity to win this game. And it was also not even because like anything particularly well happened for you, in the sense that like you got like some insane trades. You know, obviously besides the guy detonating his Banes, he didn't really macro that well. He's missing a lot of gas, or they were missing a lot of gas. And I feel like you macroed fairly well. So you actually still had a decent supply, a little bit of supply block at the end there. You got stuck at 180, but you're able to get a fourth and all this stuff. And obviously you were able to nearly max out compared to your opponent. But the positioning of the fight and the way you took the fight was just very rough. And it really is it's just hard to fight with tanks, man. It's just very hard. But if you're going to do it, that's how I would do it. You know, make sure you're taking your time with it. You're placing your siege tanks, you know, a little bit spread out, a little bit more proper. Get a pre-split going, and, you know, just keep an eye out for those counterattacks. And that's the reason why this style kind of died out, is Zerg players are really good at just yeeting links across the map and getting insane value from it. And unfortunately, if you see all those Zerg links on your side of the map, you can't just decide to unsiege your tanks and then F2A move down the middle, because you're still at risk of running into banelings, which can get insane value if you mess up, right? I'm not saying they're broken. I'm just saying, like, there's any little lines. Like, they can get insane value if you mess up. It is what it is. Now here they're pretty broke, and you're actually holding on still, but I think with the Ultralisk, we might have some difficulty. I mean, do they have armor upgrades? They actually forgot +3 armor. Man, this whole game, this guy's been struggling with gas. Oh, he actually killed his base with a drop, which is very nice. And so this person, the mistake that they've made really is just not mind gas. Like, they need to work on their macro a little bit. Okay, we take a fight. Oh, and why did we run that way? What happened? I actually feel like we were going to win that fight. Wow, this is like one of the smudge files more than anything. If you know the smudge files, you know the smudge files. Again, here that sucks because you have to, like, if you had Widow Mines, dude, you would just bro your mines and then just hope you don't kill your own army. But with tanks, like, it happens. And guys, let this be a reminder that before you move out, especially with units that require sieging, oh shit, I messed up my mic or my camera. Don't just yeet down the middle and don't scout. Guys, you need to scout. Please know where your opponent's army is. Seriously. Look at this. And if we were just A move, stimmed and A-moved, we might have even gotten better value. Or maybe microed our Marines back here. Or something like that, and let the tanks quite literally tank. A very expensive tank. But yeah, this... We panicked. And sometimes I think it's just when this happens, especially like also with fungal growth, sometimes it's better to fight than try to run away. Because I feel like then you start messing up a little bit more. And yeah, unfortunately, I feel like despite everything that happened, you still had multiple opportunities to win this game. And it mostly came down to, I think, you know, choosing a bit more of a cost-efficient, whatchamacallit, unit composition with the Widow Mines, right? Or, you know, if you are going to play tanks, just work on your tank placement, work on scanning ahead before you take fights. You know, make sure that if you're going to attack down the middle, try to clear a lot of creep in the middle before you go across the map, so that way that doesn't happen to you where you get stuck on creep. And then, you know, if you're gonna do those drops on the sides, those like how you see Clem and stuff do, that's fine. But just be realistic in the sense that unless you're able to target fire banelings, those drop, or your opponent like chokes up all their lings and throws them, those drops are not gonna get very much value without Widow Mines. And that's okay, because as long as you know that, you won't force the value out of it. So every time you get surrounded by lings or units come by, you just pick up and boost away, right? The only real time that you can actually stay there and maybe force a fight or take a fight with those drops on the sides are with Widow Mines, right? Because then they offer another sense of potency that can give you a lot of value. So definitely wouldn't say that this game was lost by per upgrades, right? They were late. Just make sure you get them on time. But you definitely still had a chance, and your opponent definitely was running out of gas, and was struggling with gas. Honestly, work on your fights. Hopefully those tips help. And yeah, so hope you guys enjoyed this first video. I'll be doing one of these videos once a week. Depending on how long the replay is, we can do maybe 2 games in a video. I just want it to be super long because yeah, you guys don't have you guys don't have good attention spans. All right, so again, if you guys have any questions or any comments about this replay, or any questions you have for me, I guess, and advice that I can give, feel free to ask that in the YouTube comments. Please sub, guys. Please like the video. If you made it to the end, you're a real homie. And I'll DM you feet pics for being such a homie. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next video. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Hope you guys found this very informative. And like I said, please like and subscribe. Donation support. I'll catch you guys later.